alongside economy. Therefore, security definitely is the dashboard of the vehicle, which guarantees safe navigation, leading us to stability, peace, and progress. I understand that the polemics are rife. Discussions are also all over the place, be it through social media or other outlets, which is, of course, why democracy is healthy. Difference in political opinion, views, suggestions, ideas. But it is also much better if those views, ideas, the outcome of discussions and polemics, disagreeing to agree, is completed with action. Therefore, it is important for each and every Gambian to understand that when one assigns a government the responsibility to coordinate efforts, combine those efforts, and then use them to usher the nation through, it is also the responsibility of the citizen, home and abroad, to stand up and speak up for that very country. Therefore, let us all remember that security, as paramount as it is, cannot also go in the absence of economy or investment. Now, we have to bear in mind that to complement security within the Gambia in particular, we must work hard towards creating a vibrant economy. That is not a duty for the government alone. Let us think about Gambia is now out of AGOA, and it is the responsibility of Gambians to make sure that Gambia is once again added on the list of sub-Saharan African countries eligible for AGOA. It is the duty of every Gambian, not only the government, not only President Adama Barrow, His Excellency, not only the Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs, Honorable Useno Numukunda Dabo, not only for Ahmad Ba, who's charged with the responsibility, Honorable Ahmad Ba, to sell Gambia's name as far as tourism is concerned. In fact, it is one of the most important sectors where the economy is to be talked about. Now, let us also know that AGOA, being Africa Growth Opportunity Act, attracts one thing which is very important, and that is respect for the rule of law and human rights. And of course, it will not entertain qualifying any country that is against the interests of Gambia abroad. Well, putting those things into consideration, one can say that, and one can be hopeful and remain hopeful that the Gambia will easily return to occupy its rightful position on the list of countries that are eligible for AGOA, sub-Saharan African countries that are eligible for AGOA. We remain hopeful, and the audacity of hope will definitely usher us. Now, that said, let us also be the salespersons of our country, particularly to Gambians abroad. Occupying the seat of critic is easier than occupying the seat of suggestion. When one criticizes, give alternatives, and let them be reasonable or rational alternatives. Now, that said, we must never forget the fact that there are things that were here during the former regime which could be continued. Things like the Roots Homecoming Festival. Imagine it being organized on James Island, and then the whole session will be done on Jufure and other villages or other surrounding villages. In fact, that is the most qualified area for the Root Homecoming Festival to be done. Now remember engaging people. For Gambians who live in Maryland, there are a lot of organizations and people that you can engage in the PG County, which is the Prince George's County. And of course, not only that, Gambians in Atlanta, Gambians in South and North Carolina, especially when one goes by the movie or the writings of a scholar like Joe Opala, the one who conducted a research on the Gullah community in South Carolina, who traced their roots back to Sierra Leone. Now imagine if the Gullah community in South Carolina are used to spearhead organizing the Roots Homecoming Festival with them by organizing shows, and then those videos are spread on every person's Facebook wall. And also Gambians in Sweden, which is not a new territory for tourism. Norway, of course, France. We have people who are hunters in France called the braconniers. They in fact once installed in a village called Njau in the Salom area, which the Minister of Tourism at the moment is quite familiar with. So what I am inviting Gambians to do at this point, and I will also engage myself in that, no one should wait for a government portfolio to work for your country. The more the private sector is empowered, the more it will not be possible for dictatorship to revisit the Gambia again. Now that said, there are a lot of Gambians who have opportunities surrounding them. Now we will challenge ourselves to think Gambian. We will challenge ourselves to sell Gambian. And then let us make it much more easier for the government on the ground, for the people on the ground, to be receiving investors and tourists. In fact, there are models in Africa where you have that one of Rwanda and the other one of Ethiopia, where the Ministry of Foreign Affairs or the government also has created a bureau that receives and treats things that are forwarded by their nationals abroad, particularly in the area of investment. Of course, the government also is not going to be gullible to be receiving everything that people would call investment, because we have to be mindful of what one would call an investment. Never ridicule anything. If somebody comes back home with a cleansing company, that is investment. One of the areas, in fact, we need right now is cleansing. Cleansing services are needed. Now, you will see that those kind of things are what we should think about. Here, my mind reflects on all the things that I met in the past. Places like the city of Coslada in Spain, where you have investors who are looking into the opportunities of going to West Africa, and then create what they call floating factories in the sea and other things. In fact, investment can even cover Ministry of Interior, because you can also coordinate with certain companies and let them understand that they can send samples, reflectors for traffic, bulletproof jackets. Those companies sell, but their samples also can help for the immediate. Not only by name,